What's good with it, people? Happy Tuesday. Let's go in. Disclosure. Disclosure day. Let's talk about it real quick. Now, before we get into the movie, let's talk about Steven real quick. Now, everybody is taking his Christianity, right? Comment and him saying, you know, about Christianity. But before I go in on the movie real quick, right? It's funny that he would use Christianity, right? He didn't use necessarily the Jews, what he believed in. He said Christianity, right? Okay. Um, I seen it where he said Christianity, right? My thing is not just Christianity, right? It will destroy the religious system in a whole, right? It will just destroy it. Now, let's get to it. First off, how it start off? Start off wrestling match, right? The entertainment. While there's entertainment going on, there's real shit taking place inside of that establishment, right? Now, one thing that I noticed, right, with Daniel and Emily Blunt's character, right? Both of their mates had J's in their name. So you had Jackson and you had Jane, right? Just, just now, how Daniel even got started, even knowing to get these files, is he went to jail for 19 months, right? For stealing cyber shit, right? Now that's what he did, right? Now, in there, you had 12 workers that did not show up to go to work the day that they decided to do the UWA, right? 12. Now, in the beginning, a couple months ago, not a month ago, we had all these scientists that was going missing, right? Now, in the movie, they just didn't show up for work, right? And they were in on helping Hugo tell the truth, right? And disclose the information. Noah, right, who wants to stop everything, and their corporation, right, is so cold because who he works for, right? First off, who he works for. This organization, right, is everywhere. Okay? They're everywhere. And it's not necessarily the FBI, the CIA. It's its own other entity, right? Now, at the end of the day, he said something in there when he was talking. He said, when he was talking, trying to gather the troops, Noah, right? The villain of the story, of the movie. Check the name, Noah, right? Now, what's so interesting, right? What is so interesting is when he was talking, he said he didn't want to get the FBI and the CIA involved because he didn't want them to know what the fuck is going on. Okay? So, just in that sense, right? Just in that sense, right? Just in that sense. This is a spoiler alert. So if you ain't watched the movie, don't watch this, right? Spoiler alert. Now, at the end of the day, you have this company that is suppressing information. They're suppressing information. Oh, and the files go back. Just like last week, the third batch of UAP files was released, right? The third batch. And here we go in the movie with them. That's the whole purpose of the movie, is for them to disclose what is going on behind closed doors. They had videos. Of course, they had the files. More videos than anything of what's going on in our skies. They had the beans, right? Now, at the end of the day, a lot of people, right, has found this movie to be weak. I didn't find it to be weak. I found it to be a nice watch, right? I found it to be a nice watch. Now, I'm not looking for a movie to disclose real shit. That would be a documentary, right? I'm not looking for a movie producer to be able to teach. I didn't go into this being a student of Disclosure Day. No. What I found interesting about Disclosure Day is a lot of movies that we do see with aliens and stuff like that. We don't see it from more empathy type of situation, right? That's the word that Steven Spielberg used. And I get that's what he was trying to drive home. That's what he was trying to drive home. Now, check this out. Even, because I did take some notes, right? The red dress. Remember, the cardinal lands on the table. She's in red, right? Now, what we seen too, right, is when she's in this, she's in the red, right? Literally, because she had on a red dress. And she's on her way to work, right? Now, further on in the story, you get to see that there was a red cardinal in there, as long as with the deer and the fox, when she was a child, right? And getting experimented on, right? Now, there is a lot of, with the cardinal, you can look at it as that being the church, because you know the church is the cardinal. You had the fox. The fox, you can look at that as Fox News, right? You have the fox up in there. You have the deer, okay? That could, you know, the deer could definitely mean the Pfizer. You know what I'm talking about, that whoop, you know what I'm saying? So, there was a lot of subliminal messages in there as well. Jane has tapped in, right? Now, this is different than Lucy, because Lucy took a pill. She literally tapped in, but it was already in her. See, it was already in her. It was in her. They programmed her. Okay, for a time, for her to be to get activated, and for her to be able to access herself. And it scared her, right? You notice when it scared her, right? What did she do? She put her hands. Daniel had her put her hands on an organ or a piano, It was an instrument. And of course, what is that doing? It's putting your hand up on there. It's healing that body. It's making you calm. That's what real instruments do, right? Remember, she couldn't stop shaking, right? Now, Daniel is on his quest as well, right? His gift is Daniel was able to see an equation and be able to solve it. Like he was able to sit up here. He was the only one to hear because he was trained, right? Both of them as kids when they were getting worked on, right, had an activation. Whenever it was time for them to be activated, that's when they hit their full force power, right? The thing I think with Daniel is he used his for wrong. That's why he went to jail, right? He used his for wrong, right? He used his gift just for the wrong, you know what I'm saying? Jane, and even this, she already knew what was going on. See, her boyfriend didn't pick up on it. Her boyfriend didn't pick up on it. Her boyfriend, Jackson, he was kind of the Joker, right? He was the Joker, right? Jackson was the Joker, right? Because he couldn't handle what was going on with her, right? Even remember when they was in the hospital, she sit up here. He was so stuck when she said, "Don't even think about it," and he had already thought about it. You know what I'm saying? She was already going. She was in in her bag mentally. Remember when she pulled up to the to where they had Daniel at, and she was going through the door. She was breaking motherfuckers down. She had access. They had given her access. Now, also in the movie they had, which was quite, you know what I'm saying, interesting because they had the aliens in the form of animals, right? So if you didn't ever had, leave it in the comments if you ever had a weird animal experience, right? When she started talking into a different language, right? Now check this out. We're also in this movie, right? One of the things I was looking at is the technology that they were gonna have, and the technology that they had in this fucking movie was crazy. Now, what have we been hearing over the last 5 years? Remote viewing, right? That's what we've been hearing. Let's get on it, right? In here, they had a device where you can remote view. Not only can you remote view, you can be able to access the person's body. Okay? You can access the person's body by using this device. Setting up a picture and Noah remote viewed into Jane. Well, Jane was about to kill Daniel. Okay? He was able to see where they was at all the time. Okay? This is the technology that they had. Okay? Not only did they suppress, but they already had the technology. Okay? Check this out. Right? Check this out. They talked about how they play games with people using the reverse engineering, right? Look, the movie was look, I give it a 10. Okay? I give it a 10. I give it a 10 because it wasn't if you want to know about aliens, right? And hey, look, there's a lot of different, you know, Dr. York, okay, Dr. Malachi York. You have Dr. Deborah Blair, okay. If you want to go, Ben Carson, okay, Billy Carson, my bad. So, forbidden knowledge. You have, if you want to get deeper into it, Killer Priest. Look, I wasn't expecting, I know I'm going back and forth, I wasn't expecting a documentary. Okay? I wasn't expecting a documentary. Okay? So, we get to the part. Let's wrap it up. Okay, so you know what Noah's trying to do. Noah's trying to get um, Emily Blunt. He's trying to get Daniel, and all he's doing is using. He's manipulating the people, and he's not giving people the truth. He's trying to suppress it, use it for his own benefit, his power. Okay? Now, my question to you, right, to anybody that's watching this, if you have some information that could benefit everybody around you, would you suppress it, or would you give it away? That's my question. All right. Now, at the end of the day, you see Hugo, he stole one of the aliens, right? Had the alien for a long time, and was able to disclose everything at the end at the news station, broadcasted all over the world. They showed the pictures, everything, right? The documents, the videos. Now, the last thing that she said, right? Spoiler alert. I'm gonna give it spoiler alert, so don't watch this. Listen. 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 Now, real quick. How many of us listen? How many of us listen? How many of us listen? Not just to what's going around, but inside. How many people listen? How many? Look, real quick, check this out. We live in a world. See, it's funny that in the 80s they wouldn't give us this information because it was stop shit. They didn't give it to us in the 90s. They didn't give it to us in the early 2000s. They didn't give it to us in the mid 2000s, right? Now, of course, you had your whistleblowers and you, of course, right? But check this out. It's a reason why they're doing this. It's a reason. Now, I have my own reason for why they're doing this because I still feel it's the same thing. It's a distraction because we're supposed to be listening, right? Even disclosure day is a distraction. Right now, if you're watching this to a certain form, I'm a distraction, right? I could be a distraction. Listen, I'm out. Peace.